Near the shores of old Lake Erie stands our alma mater true. Fredonia state we proudly honor, with its colors white and blue.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of Reflections of Fredonia. I'm Jack Croxton, a former professor of psychology at SUNY Fredonia. Now that I'm retired, I've thought about what would I like to do next, and it occurred to me it might be fun just to talk to former students who attended Fredonia, let them share information about their careers, and reflect back on some of their experiences when they were here as an undergraduate. We are recording from right here in Fredonia at the Fredonia Radio Systems, which is Fredonia's student-run radio station.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Kowalik. I graduated with my undergrad here at Fredonia in May 2024, and I am currently pursuing my master's in clinical mental health counseling here at Fredonia as well.
For today's podcast, we have two very special guests. We'll have you each introduce yourselves by telling us your name and when you graduated from Fredonia. Mike, why don't you go first?
Okay, I was going to have Susan go first, but I'll take this opportunity now that it's been offered to me. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Mike Bobseine. I'm a 1979 graduate of SUNY Fredonia, and I was here during the blizzard of 77. That's the wonderful element that I especially recall.
I hear we had a light snow during that time period.
Not just slight, Dr. Croxton. It was massive, and that was a wonderful part of the beginning of my time here at Fredonia.
Well, now that we've talked about the weather, Sue, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Susan Parker, and I am a 1980 graduate of SUNY Fredonia.
So what did each of you study while you were students here at Fredonia? This time we'll let Susan go first.
Okay, thank you. I was an English major at SUNY Fredonia.
I actually started out as a dual major, political science and English, and I then determined that political science was really where I wanted to be, but also had an interest in environmental science. And they had a degree back then. It was called a BAS degree, Bachelor of Arts Special Sciences, and actually you could take a minor. And so I did something in environmental science as well.
Cool.
Were you thinking of doing something with English when you came, Sue?
I'd have to say, and having gone to public school then and interacted with many teachers, I definitely did not want to be a teacher. I thought at the time that I was, I love teachers and I appreciate the hard work, but I knew that wasn't going to be for me. I thought I was going to be a writer, it was pretty unrealistic. That's why, and I loved to read, so.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say I also love teachers. I don't want there to be any, misunderstanding relative to, teachers.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I point that out is because I was a school nurse for many years after I went back to school to become a registered nurse. And I really do have a lot of admiration for teachers. I just know how difficult it is to manage a subject in a classroom or a subject. I think when it comes to college, you actually get people that you wouldn't get into a normal, typical classroom. And I have the utmost admiration for that skill and profession. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was an adjunct professor here for some 12-odd years teaching political science, and so I really appreciate Susan's admiration for teachers.
Well, and I believe that Jessica Croxton was one of your favorite students.
She was absolutely one of my favorite students. Actually, I really appreciated how much she had kind of gone beyond what her parents had expected of her.
Well, actually, it's kind of a funny story because Mike and I played racquetball, and he informed me that at the break, Jessica would often sneak out of the room with one of her friends. So he actually turned in my daughter.
Yeah, and I understand there were no repercussions other than, she did very well in terms
Wow.
of her grading in my classes. And so I, certainly appreciate her greatly, as
Yeah.
well as any other teachers, too,
And students.
and students.
Yes. And Susan, if you had stuck with English, you might have written the great American novel.
You know, having graduated and lived many years beyond that, I don't think I always loved writing. I really did. And I wrote, short stories and different things like that. But I don't know about the great.
She actually, in the bathroom mirrors, she actually writes notes to herself. They're really fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm
very
getting-
well
Mhm.
written.
Yeah, very well written.
I'm guessing she probably writes a few notes for you as well.
Periodically. Yeah.
So, how did you guys each end up here at Fredonia? Kind of what was that story? How did it get on your radar?
You want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
hon.
So I was born in Montreal, Canada, and my family, who were British, moved to Westchester County when I was 6. So I grew up in Westchester County. But when I graduated from high school, or in my senior year, I mean, I guess you have to understand that since I'm 67 years old, going to college was sort of foreign for my parents. My dad had gone to night school, starting in Montreal and then finishing at Pace University. But my mom never went to school. She was to college. And so your parents, and they had said that a number of times, like, we didn't know what advice to give you. And I certainly didn't get a ton of advice from my guidance counselor either, although he did recommend a couple of places that were up in Western New York, St. John's Fisher, and also Syracuse I looked at and I got in, and looked at Albany and Fredonia. And one of my close friends went to Fredonia and she loved it. We came to visit, had a good time, went to Syracuse, loved that, but it was more expensive. So I ended up coming to Fredonia, in large part due to the visit that I had with a good friend of mine, and we had a great time. And another friend of ours came, and she came here too, and that's how we got here. There really was not a lot of academic direction, nor was there a lot of thought put into it. So I'd have to say that's how I ended up in Fredonia.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of funnily, I know folks can't see me, and I'm just a hulking mass of
Of
man.
something.
I actually played football, and so I was quote unquote recruited to play football at the University of Rochester. And so I was a yellow jacket for a year. I actually played center. And I believe I was probably the lightest center on the Eastern Seaboard, or certainly in D3. And University of Rochester, a great school, as many would recognize, but also incredibly expensive. And despite the help that I had, it really wasn't enough. And also, I determined that football really wasn't a future for me. And so I did have some connections here at Fredonia, people that I knew. And I really wasn't certain what I wanted to do. And so it was really a late entry, late in the summer. And I was accepted in and decided, okay, well, I'm going to commit to this. And that's how I got here. It was very close. I grew up in Hamburg. It was close enough, and yet far enough away, kind of thing, that I could have that kind of college experience that I really had in Rochester as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then How did you two meet? I'm sure it's probably the ultimate love story.
Yeah, there was a lot of background music and
Yeah, it was wonderful.
beautiful,
Hot dogs roasting on open wood fire over by the Canadway Creek
Aw.
on
Mhm.
Valentine's Day.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
yeah.
In the cold.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, and I must say that coming to Fredonia was kind of a shock because I was here in the blizzard of '77 too, and we didn't have blizzards in Westchester County.
Yeah.
So they were not allowed. But anyway, yeah. So we met because my friend Barb, who graduated from Fox Lane High School, where I graduated, we were friends, and she came up, and Mike Bobseine, was her RA. So she lived in Schultz. I lived in Eisenhower. This was our second year of college, and so that's how I met Michael.
So that's the
It was
story.
that
and we're
devilish-
sticking to it.
That's
Those
it.
blue eyes, those
that's
Bobseine
it.
blues. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And Susan's wonderful.
I was hoping for
Smile.
something maybe a little more romantic, but I guess that'll do.
I mean, we do have
We did give
3
you-
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could get more romantic about it.
Well, let's move along. All right. So when you think back about your time at Fredonia, any like an experience that stands out or a favorite teacher that you might think about as you look back on your time here?
I had a number of excellent teachers. 2 that I think that I would especially remark on. Morgan Dowd was my constitutional law professor, and that was boy, it was an upper level class. I remember it was brand new transfer in. And he let me into his course. I'm not sure why. It really was very much a seminar sort of course. And I just learned so much from Dr. Dowd. Another person I would mention is Jim Hurtgen. Jim was a very young professor when I came here originally, and we've become lifelong friends. He actually was our best man for our wedding.
Oh,
Aw.
So
yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. I think for teachers, I had in my intro to English composition, I had Ted Steinberg, who was great.
Mhm.
And he really, for me, sort of recognized my, my fledgling sort of writing skills. And, in that class. And for me, that was really important. And he was very interested in students as students, and very encouraging. Another person I had was Steve Warner, who I loved. Dr. Warner, he was amazing. We read all American Lit, Deliverance, all that.
good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. And Last of the Mohicans, all the books that became movies. But he was. I think what I liked about Dr. Steinberg was that he was just incredibly serious and a really good scholar. But he also knew how to relate to a 19-year-old student who was just trying to make their way in the world. Dr. Warner, Steve Warner, was very funny and made his lectures were very, they were just entertaining. But at the same time, we were reading some really great stuff. And so those 2, and then I did take a politics and literature course from Jan Kraus, who I didn't know anything about him, but we read, like Man's Fate, Darkness at Noon, a lot of political fiction that was so fascinating to me. And I thought he did a really good job with that. And yeah.
I would just throw in here 2 things also. One very much in common for us, but I would mention Dick Gilman. from the geology department, and also from biology, Dr. Benton. Susan and I took a bird watching
watching, yep.
class
Oh.
together. This is crazy. It was, for me, it wasn't a big deal. I'm an early person, but for Susan, it was Saturday mornings, tentatively 8 o'clock in the morning. However, if we were going out like owl watching, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know for college students if you're listening in, but getting up those times on a Saturday morning, obviously took a great deal of love
Sure.
for Susan to be
Oh my
out
God,
there
yeah.
and trying
Well-
to find birds
Well,
together.
well, you both had some very, very outstanding teachers
Yeah.
when you were here
Yeah.
in Fredonia, that's
Dr.
for sure.
Fonstock, too, in
Yeah.
geology.
Yep.
Yeah, he died tragically studying glaciers
Oh, wow.
That's right.
in Alaska.
That's right.
and-
Airplane
Yeah,
crashed, right?
or helicopter, I forget. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
just some really
Well,
wonderful people.
Well, just so you know, I played softball with Ted and Jim, and Ted Steinberg was an outstanding second baseman on McIntyre's softball team.
That's
Awesome.
nice. That's awesome, Dr. Croxton.
Yeah.
Little known fact.
There you
Yeah.
go. Now we know. So now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about your careers. So honestly, either of you, whoever would like to go first, kind of just tell us a little bit about what your career has looked like, kind of maybe where you've been so far since you graduated.
And encapsulate it.
Yeah. very
Yes.
In
much
200 words or
encapsulated.
less.
200 words or less.
So I think it's important to note that in 1980, the early 80s was a time of recession, bad employment, right? So there wasn't a lot. And they always mention that now. And I don't think I realized it at the time. But but I had a job. I had taken typing in high school, so I could do type pretty well. And but in any case, I worked for Matthew Bender Law Book Publisher, which sounds like it could be a good English job, but basically I was in the pink collar. We did customer service, so we would talk to people all over the country and about what they needed for their law book updates that used to be sent to them every month. So I did that for about a year, and it was fine, but that definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do for a long term. So I went back to school. We lived in Albany at the time, so I went to Hudson Valley Community College for nursing, got an associate's, and became a registered nurse. And then for several, we have 3 children, as Mike pointed out. But so for a couple of years I was at home, but then I started to work at Brooks Hospital in pediatrics, became a school nurse. Then ultimately, interestingly enough, because I always wanted to go back to school, and I always kind of felt like it would be good to, I was always interested in doing something that was good for people, like social work, or what I perceived as was good for people. And so I went back to school when I was like 55, after both my parents had died. And I said, I'm just getting tired of this whole school nursing thing. Michael said, well, your parents gave you the golden ticket, the Charlie Bucket, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ticket. They left me some money. So knowing that I would not have like 30 years of work ahead of me, I applied to UB. I wrote my application on an iPad and sent it, because we have actually pretty smart kids. So I sent it to Will. I said, what do you think of this? I had our kids look at it, and Michael, of course, too. I sent in this application to UB School of Social Work, thinking, and got in. I was first waitlisted because I hadn't been like this incredibly stellar student at Fredonia, but Anyway, I got into UB in their part-time cohort and spent 3 years in a master's program. And that is the thing that I'm most proud of because I went to school with many people from Buffalo and surrounding areas, and we were all working full-time, going to school for our master's and having internships and uh, it was such a great group of people. You know, we just had people who were working here in Buffalo, there in Buffalo. There was diversity. There were people coming from all different walks of life. And to me, that was one of the greatest kind of experiences I ever had. And also in social work, understanding really where people are coming from was such a great advancement, I think, in my general knowledge of the world. It was so then I worked for 3 years after I got my master's and retired from Fredonia and worked at the VA clinic in Dunkirk, and I was a social worker there, which I enjoyed very much.
Well, I'm sure when you were nursing, you must have had some really wonderful colleagues working with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know, this is so reflective on the fact that we are a small community because I worked with Mary Croxton, who is
Oh,
married,
oh,
excuse me,
wow.
to Jack Croxton, and she was an amazing colleague. Really, I can't say enough about how wonderful she is. A wonderful person, very hardworking community member and nurse.
Well, I think she did so well because she had a great support system at home
Oh, I'm
to
sure.
look after things.
No doubt, no doubt.
Like your daughter and son.
That's right.
Two
Go ahead,
daughters,
Mike.
Um, yeah, so yeah, with Susan's help, I really had so many experiences after leaving Fredonia. I'll just highlight a couple. One is went to SUNY at Albany. I got my master's in public administration. Um, Interestingly, Dr. Dowd had told me, Mike, you love the law. You really should not bother with a MPA and just go right to law school. You're eventually going to have to do that. And I did. I got my master's in public administration. I had a number of jobs. Job with the oil and gas industry brought me back here after working in the New York State Assembly. I was with the Chamber of Commerce, so on, and so the adjunct professor job. And eventually, I had an opportunity to apply to UB Law. Susan said, "Yeah, we've got 3 kids. We can't afford anything. Sure, why don't you try that?" And she, no, very much supportive. So just before I turned 40, I graduated from the University of Buffalo Law School, went into private practice with very good friends, the Broadegums, Daryl and Sharon Broadegum, and really concentrated on family law. And as a consequence of my work in family law, I applied for and became a magistrate in the family court and retired from that job after 10 years. Also was both Susan and I have been county legislators representing the same district in Fredonia.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, it's probably
I was going to ask you about that.
pretty interesting.
That was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that ever problematic for you, Susan, having to sort of follow in Mike's footsteps?
Oh yeah, he really was. They had like a statue in front of the county building of Mike Bobseine. No, I mean, I think it was really helpful to have Michael there, to have Mike having been, he had been a legislator. Nobody, or very few, I hate to say this, but very few people knew of Mike Bobseine because when he was an attorney, he had to, and especially when he was a magistrate, he couldn't be involved because of the Hatch Act or whatever. He couldn't, the ethics code in New York State, he couldn't be involved in politics, although that had been a big part of his early, kind of professional life.
So as you think back on it now, I mean, you've both had, wonderful careers. How do you feel that your time at Fredonia may have shaped your career? I mean, you've already kind of talked about the professors
Yeah.
that made an impact, but any other aspects of your undergraduate life that you think made a difference for you in your career?
Well, we were talking in the green room preparing for this interview, and uh, yeah, one of the things that I've talked about before, and I've mentioned it to students because I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of students over the years, but one of the things especially valuable that I found was that being in this environment of Fredonia and its relative um, size, uh, you have opportunities available to you to do things that might not otherwise be available to you. Look, we're sitting in this studio, which has equipment that I know the commercial radio station locally would die for. This is just really the experiences that students have available to them. I had the Washington program, so I went to Washington for a semester. Had a fantastic experience, exposed to such wonderful things. Just again, your access to professors, your access to resources, I think was especially valuable that you couldn't necessarily access. When I think about a comparison with the University of Rochester, I had, these stellar professors, but, I was taught by TAs in a lot of situations, teaching assistants in a lot of situations. And some of them, were not understandable. Um, and so your access, I think, was really important. Something I would point to and hope that students could take a special regard for and advantage of relative to what you can have here at Fredonia.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there were a number of things that were available, and I would really encourage people to, new students to just go and try and be part of that greater community, no matter what your interests are. I was in help service for several years, which I don't know if it even exists anymore, but it was a phone call. We were trained to do active listening and to kind of uh, also refer people who called on the phone because they were having a hard time. It was basically not a hotline because we were paraprofessionals, but it was really it was a great community for me, the people I worked with, and being able to do that. Another thing we did was we started one of the first environmental clubs in Fredonia, Michael, called the Environmental Action League. I went on a bus to Love Canal with Jane Fonda and Tom Hayden.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, I
Yeah.
was like with and I don't know if most people know about Love Canal anymore. I hope they do because it was a huge pollution the issue where houses were built
An
y-
old dump site,
on toxic
toxic waste dump
waste.
Yeah.
site.
And so people
Mhm.
were having all kinds of, cancers and various different things. And it took so much work to really get recognition because I think was it Dow Chemical? What was it?
Uh,
I don't know, one of the
Oh,
big
yeah.
chemical companies. Anyway, so we went on a bus, and I'm sure that if that was from like UB or was a big school or something, I never would have been on the bus.
Right.
Anyway, I think I will say, coming from this place of not really knowing why like why I was going to college or just kind of doing things, I think that being exposed to all kinds of different subjects, all kinds of different people, learning how to kind of navigate different social situations. And, I had a job. I worked at the union,
Oh, yeah.
slinging hot hamburgers or whatever.
Yeah, I was a soda jerk.
Yeah. So I mean, it was an ability to grow up and also
With Mooney.
with Mooney. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
great.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was a huge experience. Was working, and serving other students dinner and all that kind of stuff. But I think the biggest thing is that, yeah, you're allowed to make mistakes, and you're allowed to go and, um, you know, talk to your teachers and get some help, or go to or talk to other students. And I don't think if I didn't go to college, if I hadn't gone to college, I probably still would be in the town that I grew up in. Maybe that wouldn't be true for some people, but I think that this expanded my world in a way that was so valuable to my thinking, the way that we teach our kids, and also just in the way that we think about the world. So
Yeah, actually, we had Lois Gibbs come as a convocation speaker
oh my gosh.
maybe 15 years ago,
Okay.
I think.
She was
One of
she
the
was the
active-
champion,
champion of
relative to
reform
Love
after
Canal.
Love Canal.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, and what happened with the EPA and New York State after that as well,
Mhm.
which unfortunately may be where we're headed again. But
Well, so that about does it for our interview today. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
well, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Susan for everything she's done and as she's related here, but also Chloe and Jack. Thanks so much for giving me this opportunity. I'll let Susan talk for herself because she does
Yeah.
it really well.
Yeah, thank you, Jack and Chloe. Really appreciate it. It's fun. I mean, we really probably don't think. I mean, we do now. We come to the college every day walking, practically, or biking. So Fredonia as a village is really important to us to live here now. We did leave. We went to Albany. We lived in Albany for several years, and we lived in Buffalo, and we came back to Fredonia because we had such great memories of it. So we're happy to, talk about that a little bit. And it's really fun. Thanks.
Well, I just want to thank you both for the contributions that you've made to our community. You've certainly
Thank
been
you.
stellar members, and you've done a lot of wonderful things around here. And so it's been great having you on our show.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So I am Jack Croxton.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Its glory and its praises, let them ring forever true. Beloved is our alma mater, Fredonia State